Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We're just in Hyde Park, in the field where the BST Hyde Park concerts are happening.
Yeah, Adele was here last week.
Yeah.
We weren't here, we just heard about it.
We weren't here, no. And she wasn't reading Bhagavatam.
No.
Well, she might be, I don't know.
Yeah, true.
But I don't think she's subscribed to the Bhagavatam Bites
Not
channel.
yet.
Not yet, that's right. Anyway, we just went for a walk and we saw this place, so we decided to come over. So here we are.
Look at the clouds, it looks so crazy.
It's very ominous. That is not photoshopped in, that is the real thing. We're not being photoshopped into the middle of the field.
It is very humid and hot, mind you.
Yeah, it's a little sticky.
Alright, Canto 3, Chapter 26, Text 63.
Chapter entitled
Fundamental Principles of Material Nature.
And by looks at my thing, we've got 9 pages left. We might finish this chapter today.
I don't think so.
Really?
With the purports on the purports.
Okay, we'll chant the invocation.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 63. The god of fire entered his mouth with the organ of speech, but the Virat Purusha could not be aroused. Then the god of wind entered his nostrils with the sense of smell, but still the Virat Purusha refused to be awakened. 64. The sun god entered the eyes of the Virat Purusha with the sense of sight, but still the Virat Purusha did not get up. Similarly, the predominating deities of the directions entered through his ears with the sense of hearing, but still he did not get up. Text 65. The predominating deities of the skin, herbs and seasoning plants entered the skin of the Virat Purusha with the hair of the body, but the cosmic being refused to get up even then. The god predominating over water entered his organ of generation with the faculty of procreation, but the Virat Purusha still would not rise. Text 66. The god of death entered his anus with the organ of defecation, but the Virat Purusha could not be spurred to activity. The god of Indra entered the hands with the god Indra entered the hands with their power of grasping and dropping things, but the Virat Purusha would not get up even then. Oh my days, look at my hair. Sorry. Text 67.
Oh my God, look at my hair.
Lord Vishnu entered his feet with the faculties of locomotion, but the Virat Purusha...
Locomotion.
That's Kylie Minogue get this song, didn't it?
Krishna, Krishna, honey.
But the Virat Purusha refused to stand up even then. The rivers entered his blood vessels with the blood and the power of circulation, but still the cosmic being could not be made to stir. Text 68. The ocean entered...
Very poetic, isn't it, this whole thing? It's very visual. I'd love to see someone, maybe someone out there, you're hearing this, you can make like, you know, what is it called? Like...
cartoon.
Cartoon.
Animation.
Some sort of, 3D animation, graphics or something. And maybe you could create this so we could all watch it.
You do it and we'll watch it.
Yeah. You write it in the comments below.
Text 68. The ocean entered his abdomen with hunger and thirst, but the cosmic being refused to rise even then. The moon god entered his heart with the mind, but the cosmic being would not be roused. Text 69. Brahma also entered his heart with intelligence, but even then the cosmic being could not be prevailed upon to get up. Lord Rudra also entered his heart with the ego, but even then the cosmic being did not stir. Text 70. However, when the inner controller, the deity presiding over consciousness, entered the heart with reason, at that very moment the cosmic being arose from the causal waters. Text 71. When a man is sleeping, all his material assets, namely the vital energy, the senses for recording knowledge, the senses for working, the mind and the intelligence, cannot arouse him. He can be aroused only when the Supersoul helps him. Purport. The explanation of Sankhya philosophy is described here in detail in the sense that the Virat Purusha, or the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the original source of all the various sense organs and their presiding deities. The relationship between the Virat Purusha and the presiding deities, or the living entities, is so intricate that simply by exercising the sense organs which are related to their presiding deities, the Virat Purusha cannot be aroused. It is not possible to arouse the Virat Purusha or to link with the Supreme Personality of Godhead by material activities. Only by devotional service and detachment can one perform the process of linking with the Absolute.
Okay, very interesting.
And you were right, we might actually we will finish the chapter. Well done.
Let's see. There's
Yeah,
still time.
true.
Still time to talk.
Right, time to talk.
So please speak your realizations after having read so many verses.
Well, so many verses citing so many demigods and powerful beings, and as it says in this last line, that we cannot link with the Supreme Absolute Truth with material activities. They couldn't arouse him by their Shakti or ability, only by it says here, by devotional service and detachment can you actually link with the Absolute. So the point being that some simple example like a simple street sweeper, they could have more power to get the attention of the Lord than Lord Indra in all his prowess. Because the simple street sweeper might just call out the holy names of the Lord, or just have some sense of surrender and dependence, and that would bring more favor on him than demigods that may show off what this is what I can do, and of course I'm closest to you, Lord, and here I am. But that isn't how it works. What's your what? My hair funny?
Hair funny. Hair funny. Symphony. Hair funny. No. I'm just thinking, wow, you're really revealing, having proper revelation.
Genesis, Book 2, Bhava Bhakti Revelations.
Genesis, Book 2. Okay.
That's from the Christian theology.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that? Not the pop group Genesis.
Oh, good. Yeah, very powerful. Nice points. And, I mean, again, still, I think this is very visual. We have to remember the Virat Purusha is not in one sense, it's not an actual living entity. It's a conception, a mental conception that's explained elsewhere. We've probably read it previously. So it's a mental conception, but this is a principle that the Virat Purusha can only be awakened once the Supersoul. Now, did it say which? It just said the presiding deity over consciousness, and then later Prabhupada says that was the Supersoul. So when Vishnu himself enters the Virat Purusha, then the Virat Purusha comes to life. So, yeah, very nice. Anything else? Okay, should we read on?
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is the last verse and purport of the chapter. So we may just read that and call it a day. Let's see. So, text 72, 26th chapter. Therefore, through devotion, detachment, and advancement in spiritual knowledge, okay, three things. Through spiritual knowledge acquired through concentrated devotional service, one should contemplate that supersoul as present in this very body, although simultaneously apart from it. Okay, so through devotion, detachment, and advancement in spiritual knowledge that comes through concentrated devotional service, one should contemplate the supersoul as present in this body, although the supersoul is simultaneously different from it. Purport. One can realize the supersoul within oneself. He is within one's body, but apart from the body or transcendental to the body. Although sitting in the same body as the individual soul, the supersoul has no affection for the body, whereas the individual soul does. Interesting. Therefore, one has to detach himself from this material body by discharging devotional service. It is clearly mentioned here, bhaktya, that one has to execute devotional service to the Supreme. As it is stated in the first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam 127, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha. When Vasudev, the all-pervading Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is served in completely pure devotion, detachment from the material world immediately begins. The purpose of Sankhya is to detach oneself from material contamination. This can be achieved simply by devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Any thoughts?
Although sitting in the same body as the individual soul, the supersoul has no affection for the body, although the individual soul does. I thought that was interesting. That the supersoul Paramatma is naturally detached from the body, but the jiva, us, the Atma, in our own in this body, we become attached to it. It's interesting, I think. I don't remember ever hearing that before, how the supersoul is, it makes sense, but the supersoul is completely detached from this body. Because the supersoul, I guess, actually knows that I've been in so many bodies before, and this is just another body. Although I think this is the body, I think that I'm somebody, kind of thing, like that.
Yeah, because the difference is the supersoul has knowledge, and with knowledge one can detach. And as a conditioned soul, I'm in ignorance, and therefore this is the be-all and end-all, not realizing I've had so many other bodies and mothers and fathers and kids and whatnot. So when you're in knowledge, if all of a sudden I was flooded with that knowledge and remembered previous lives and thinking, geez, what am I doing? Then I think I'd be detached quite quickly.
Yeah.
I don't want to go around that merry-go-round again.
That's right.
The next paragraph.
Go round again.
When one is detached from the attraction of material propensity, one can actually concentrate his mind upon the supersoul. As long as the mind is distracted towards the material, there is no possibility of concentrating one's mind and intelligence upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his partial representation. The supersoul. In other words, one cannot concentrate one's mind and energy upon the Supreme unless one is detached from the material world. Following detachment from the material world, one can actually attain transcendental knowledge of the Absolute Truth. As long as one is entangled in sense enjoyment or material enjoyment, it is not possible to understand the Absolute Truth. That is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. One who is free from material contamination is joyful and can enter into devotional service, and by devotional service he can be liberated.
Okay. Thoughts?
I guess that's the test, isn't it? When you're practicing Krishna consciousness, is one joyful?
Is what?
Is one joyful?
Is one joyful?
It says here, one who is freed from material contamination is joyful and can enter into devotional service. Are we always joyful on this path?
Susukam kartamavyayam. Of course, it mentions 1854. I think that is the Brahmabhuta verse. Brahmabhuta prasanatma nashochati nakangshati samasarveshu bhuteshu. Is it? Mad bhaktim lamate param. Not sure if the last two were correct, but yeah. Brahmabhuta prashanatma means one who's on the Brahmabhuta platform is very happy. Nashochati nakangshati, neither hankers nor laments. Yeah, like that. Interesting, yes. Yeah, I made a note here. One can only concentrate upon the Lord when detached from the material world. Otherwise, attachment remains. So we can only really become attached to Krishna when we become detached from this world. And you could say it's a simultaneous process. The more that we become attached to Krishna, naturally more detached we become from the material world. But we have to become detached from the material world. So that means at some point we need to really genuinely look at and recognize those things that we're really attached to, and how are we going to deal with that. Of course, our philosophy not often but predominantly teaches us that it's not about just trying to falsely renounce something. As you said earlier, better to be a simple sweeper in the street. So it's not about trying to restrain the senses and just giving up, but actually our process of detachment is one of attachment. By becoming attached to Krishna, we become detached from the material energy. Shall I read the last paragraph?
Yes, please.
In the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, it is stated that one becomes joyful by discharging devotional service. In that joyful attitude, one can understand the science of God or Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it is not possible. The analytical study of the elements of material nature and the concentration of the mind upon the Supersoul are the sum and substance of the Sankhya philosophical system. The perfection of this Sankhya culminates in devotional service unto the Absolute Truth. Thus in Bhaktivedanta Purports of the 3rd Canto, 26th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. Wow, that was a long chapter, right?
That was a long chapter. Next one's not so long.
So no closing words?
That was my closing words.
Gotcha.
As I close my book.
Okay, so very powerful. Becoming joyful and discharging devotional service. And when we're in a joyful attitude, we can understand the science of God or Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it is not possible. Susukam kartam abhyayam. It is joyfully performed. Susukam. And also once we understood that His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj said that the secret to success in Krishna consciousness is to stay blissful at all costs. So, stay blissful at all costs, be joyful, and perform devotional service.
And that staying blissful at all costs means you have to regularly assess your tribe, the people around you, and are they pulling me up or pulling me down, left or right, inside out, my environment. Am I growing flowers? Am I growing weeds? International Society for Krishna Consciousness is just that, it's international. And if need be, we have to sprout our seeds elsewhere. But we should always be joyful, like our spiritual master says.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.